Well, we've played 3 periods of hockey here, and the outcome has not been decided as of yet, so we will go to an overtime period. And looking at the scoring in the period, Jan Eriksson is second of the playoffs from Nemchinov and Leach. A shorthanded goal at 5:24 gave the Rangers a 5-4 lead. But Kevin Stevens, who had 17 playoff goals last year for the Penguins to lead the playoffs in that department, got his 7th from McEachran and Paul Stanton at 10-13. The Penguins had tied the game. Shots on goal in the period. The Penguins with 15. They now have 48 through 3 periods of play. And the New York Rangers finished with 8, and they have 31. All right, the Penguins and Rangers are tied at 5, and we'll be back, and we'll be chatting with Penguin defenseman Peter Taglianetti, and we'll be there in just a moment right here on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Can't believe you're leaving.
It was my dad's idea.
Boston's so far away.
I know.
I guess this is goodbye.
Michael.
For those times when no ordinary picture will do, there's album classics from Giant Eagle. Bigger prints, dramatically higher quality, and framed in their very own album.
I didn't want you to forget about me.
Oh, Michael.
Hey, we're only going on vacation for a week.
Album classics from Giant Eagle.
Can you believe what's happening here? Hour after hour, and all I get are calls about this gotta have it slogan for Pepsi. Let's go to the phones.
Regis, since it's gotta have it phenomena, I finally got something to talk to my kids about.
He is bonding with his family because of Pepsi.
I've never seen such a diverse group of people buying Pepsis at one time.
Isn't that wonderful? We're all happy for you.
I gotta have it. He's gotta have it.
What's the matter with these people?
If it ain't Pepsi, it ain't Pepsi.
You got a good point there. I think so. Coming up next, Pepsi lovers who gotta have it and why.
The Pittsburgh Penguins' 25th anniversary highlight video, now available for mail orders only. A colorful look at the club's first 25 years and the greatest moments of the 91-92 season. From tragedy to triumph, the dramatic story of the Penn season unfolds. Order now. Send $19.95 plus $3 shipping to Penguins Video Mail Order, the Civic Arena, Pittsburgh, PA 15219.
Iron Mike on Rust.
I hate Rust.
Iron Mike on Tough.
This is tough. Rust tough. This is Rust. Oleum? The dictionary defines tough as strong, not easily influenced, like me. The definition of oleum is, We sprayed this rusty metal plate with fast-drying Rust Tough, exposed the rusted metal, then placed it in the torture salt fog chamber. The rust didn't spread, it stayed tough. You want tough? What do you want? Oleum. Got rust? Get tough. Rust Tough.
We're back at the Civic Arena. We're in an intermission period, waiting for the first overtime period to begin. And with us right now, Penguin defenseman Peter Taglianetti, who just came off back surgery. And Peter, before we talk about the game, I guess we'd like to know your condition. I know you've been skating with the club, and what the chances are for you coming back this year.
Well, Mike, about 2 days ago, the doctors gave me the okay to start lifting with my back, as in the lower back Nautilus machines and abdominal machines. But I've been skating for the past 12 days, and I feel real good. And right now, I just have to bide my time and not do any more damage to it. But as of right now, I feel real good, and hopefully I get back in maybe the end of next series.
Tags, what does the weight do for the back? Does that just make it stronger from the surgery standpoint?
It's basically what it does. You have to build the muscles back up. Once any surgery takes place, it rips apart your muscles, and they do a lot of damage by moving the muscles around to get the disc out when they did it. And right now, it's I haven't done anything for almost 2.5, 3 months, and it's very hard to get back into shape. And the lower back's the first thing to go, is because when you're just standing around, not lifting, not doing even the normal chores around the house, it gets really weak.
Well, let's talk about this hockey game. What do you think about it?
Well, it's a very intense game, and as we were talking about before, it's something that hopefully a fluky goal is not going to end the game for either way. And both teams worked very, very hard tonight, and I think we put in a little extra effort in, and it shows by the shots on net and the way we've been buzzing their defensemen. And if we can keep that up, we'll have a good shot in this overtime.
Tags, we talked to Wendell Young between periods the last time, and I'm amazed, and I know the players on this club aren't, but this club certainly has a tremendous amount of character within the whole framework of it, right from the #1 guy all the way down to the 25th, 26th, 27th guy, and a will to want to win. I mean, I don't know the outcome of this one yet, but certainly they've shown an awful lot of that.
Well, anytime you get any professional team together, you're going to have a bunch of winners from all different situations, and that looked like tonight. Mario's out, and Ronnie Francis stepped to the forefront, and he's playing great. And guys like Sean McEachran, who's been only maybe played a handful of games, maybe I think 12 games total in his NHL career. He's playing really, really well. And then you call it guys like Mike Needham and Jock Callender, and they're playing great. So anytime you get a bunch of professionals together, I mean, they rise to the occasion. They have to. It's their job, and that's what they get paid for.
Tags, what player on the Ranger team has impressed you tonight?
Well, I'll tell you, the guy who's doing a lot of damage for them against us is Randy Gillen. He's winning a lot of their draws, a lot of their key face-offs, and that's where it all starts. If they can control the face-offs, a lot of times they get the puck out of their zones on the penalty kills and even on even situations. And yeah, we got to find a way to neutralize him. And as any other part of the game, I think we've been dominating him, but it's the face-offs in their defensive end that's killing us.
All right, one final question here. Can you analyze the series for us? What do you think between the two teams and how they match up?
Well, we're pretty evenly matched. Actually, we were talking about this before the playoffs started. Who would we rather play first? And the Rangers, we match up against them a lot better than we do any other team because of the clutching and grabbing that New Jersey and Washington does. And we like to freewheel and an open skating. And right now we're going to do that with the Rangers. And plus, we throw the body checks in every once in a while, and it makes it a very exciting game. I don't think you're going to see anything different from game to game. It's going to be the same. Up and down and go to the net and as many shots as you can. It's a very high shooting series, and it's going to keep like that.
All right, Tags, thanks for taking the time to join us between this intermission, between the first overtime period coming up. Get yourself well and keep working out with those weights, man. We'll have you back soon.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
All right, Peter Taglianetti's been our guest, and we'll have more from the arena in just a moment. The Penguins and Rangers are tied at 5 on the Penguins Hockey Network. Left on that Stanley Cup for the Penguin names to go on. The 1991 Stanley Cup champion, the Pittsburgh Penguins, has just left the building.
Visit the Penn's Pro Shops in South Hills Village and Century 3 Mall, featuring an exclusive line of 25th anniversary merchandise. To order by phone, call 642-2019.
Savor the silver.
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. You mean, if I join Health America now, I get all that full coverage, all those savings, and I can still use my own gynecologist for my annual checkup? Where do I sign?
When it comes to your feelings, Health America responds again. Check your company's plan. Chances are it already includes this new benefit.
The sun, the surf, the sand, the babes, the beach. The truth, it's 3,000 miles away and has nothing to do with Pittsburgh or beer. It's time to take action. It's time for you to write and star in your own beer commercial. Call the Pittsburgh Brewing Company at 692-1101. Now.
Have you ever wanted to take a flying leap? Tomorrow at 5, Channel 11 News, First at 5 reports. It's thrilling.
It's the most natural high you can get in the world.
Chilling.
You're staring death right in the face.
It's sensational.
This is almost better than sex.
Take a ride on the wild side with John Fedko and local doers of daring deeds. First at 5 reports. Fedko's Daredevils, tomorrow on Channel 11 News. More news, more often.
Well, the Rangers were the team that scored first in that third period, with the teams tied at 4 going to the third, and it was Jan Eriksson who got the goal, a freak goal, because Barrasso thought the puck was underneath him. It was not, and it came out to the left point where Leach fired it back to the net. The rebound popped out, and Eriksson fired it upstairs underneath the crossbar. His second goal of the playoffs from Leach and Nemchinov at 5:24 of the third. And the Rangers had another lead. And they've had a lot of those in this hockey game, and the Penguins have been able to bounce back each time. And it was Kevin Stevens taking a pass from McEachran and firing one. It may have hit the stick of Bukaboom, and it jumped up over the shoulder of Mike Richter. And that tied the game at 5. McEachran and Stanton assisted on that one at 10-13. And that's where we are right now. A 5-5 tie after 3 periods of hockey. The Penguins have outshot the Rangers 48-31. And they outshot them 15-8 in that third period. And we're about 3 minutes away from the start of the overtime.
Well, Ronnie Francis with an 8-shot night so far. Ditto that for Larry Murphy. Mike Gardner has 8 for the New York Rangers. And the power plays, the Penguins 1 for 10 tonight. And the New York Rangers 1 for 4. And the Penguins had to score that power play goal with a 2-man advantage against the Rangers, and that came in the second period. At the arena in Pittsburgh, the Penguins and Rangers are tied at 5 as we await the overtime period. The Penguins had 3 overtime games last year on their way to the Stanley Cup. They won 2 and lost 1. They beat the Washington Capitals 7-6 on the April 19th game. At 8:10 of overtime, Kevin Stevens scored the winning goal for the Penguins. And against the Boston Bruins, the Penguins won over the Bruins. Lost in overtime in Game 2 as Vladimir Ruzicka scored the game-winning goal. And the Penguins, why can't I find this? I'm sorry, I beg your pardon here. I thought they had 3 overtime games last year. We'll double check that when we come back. Are we coming back or are we staying here, Dougie? All right, we have to take that break. That'll give me a chance to find all the paperwork.
Who's Dougie?
Dougie is Dougie Kennedy. That's who he is.
There's a guy there's a guy helping us with this thing. We're not up here by ourselves.
Dougie.
There's a producer.
Okay, Dougie, take a break. 5-5. Ready to push the button, Dougie? 3, 2, 1.
Push it.
Penguins Hockey Network.
If it's the right beer now, then in 10 minutes, it won't be the right beer anymore, will it? Because now will be over, and you won't have anything to drink. So maybe it's time for you to write and star in an intelligent beer commercial. Call the Pittsburgh Brewing Company at 692-1101 now.
These are the machines of the 90s.
Fuel injection, overhead cams, fully valve.
Today's high-tech engines demand high-tech protection. Kendall Motor Oil is specifically designed to provide the ultimate protection against heat and wear under the most extreme conditions. Don't take a chance with your high-tech engine. Use Kendall Motor Oil, formulated to protect your high-tech engine. Kendall Motor Oil, pour in the protection. Kendall, available at these locations.
Iron Mike on rust.
I hate rust.
Iron Mike on tough.
This is tough. Rust tough. This is rust. Oleum? The dictionary defines tough as strong, not easily influenced. Like me. The definition of oleum is, we sprayed this rusty metal plate with fast-drying rust tough, exposed the rusted metal, then placed it in the torture salt fog chamber. The rust didn't spread. It stayed tough. You want tough? What do you want? Oleum. Got rust? Get tough. Rust tough.
Penguins are 6-4 lifetime in overtime. They had 3 last year. They won against New Jersey in overtime on a Jaromir Jagr goal to beat the Devils. And we told you about the other 2. Beating Washington 7-6 as Kevin Stevens scored, and losing to Boston by the score of 5-4. The Rangers have had an untold number of playoff games in their history, dating all the way back to 1928. But in the last 5 overtime games they've had in Stanley Cup competition, they are 0-5. Including their last game in '91 against the Capitals, losing in the division semifinals. In the 5th game, Dino Ciccarelli scored the game winner at 6:44 of overtime.
Let's hope that hidden vigorish stays hidden for another game.
Well, this is, it's just sudden death. That's what it is. One shift, one shot, and it can be over. And Leach Brings the puck to the Penguins in. The Rangers moving right to left, losing the puck to McEachran. On to Ronnie Francis. His lead pass to Jimmy Pack. Off is taken into the Rangers in. Pack hit against the boards by Jeff Bukaboom. Turned around, Pack in deep on the play, goes behind the net, and Sergei Nemchinov lost it to Francis. Right in front of his shot. Richter made a great save to stop the play right there. Loose in front of the net. Ronnie Francis almost ended it in the first minute of play. But the Rangers have it, and Nemchinov cuts back into the Penguins in. Moves in against Jimmy Pack. Moves in, look out, he's got a man in front. Closer, and he can't get it. Francis checking both in. Has the puck now. On the play to Dolph Samuelson, a right-wing pass to Kevin Stevens, and it's too far for him. Leach will go on the counterattack. On to Nemchinov as a man on the left wing. Man open, here's Koster, and it's blocked by Penguin defenseman Gordy Roberts. Both teams appear to want to end it early. Kevin Stevens to the Ranger line, a long shot, and that's stopped by Richter. Off the pad and right to Chris King of the Rangers. Ronnie Francis might not get a better chance the rest of the way in overtime than he had against goaltender Richter there. Larry Murphy to the Ranger line comes in. Bork's open. Murphy goes down towards the net, blocked by the Rangers, and they stop it, and Broughton counterattacks for New York. Swing it out down the right wing into Penguin territory, and Gordy Roberts intercepts. Penguin defenseman looking left wing to Bork, and it's too far. It'll not be an icing call, though, and Mark Hardy returns to take command of the puck for the Rangers. And Hardy's pass to Broughton. He has some room going to the Penguins end. Look out, his wrist shot. Missed the net. King on the rebound. Shoots it in. He scores. It's off Barrasso. And the New York Rangers have won in overtime in 1 minute and 29 seconds of this overtime period, and the Rangers have won 6-5. Well, both teams were going for the win early, and the Rangers were the team that got the goal. Despite the fact the Penguins ended up with 50 shots, they lose the game to the Rangers here tonight. And the Rangers now lead the series 2-1. Chris King, who had the game winner in game 2, gets the game winner here against the Penguins. The puck off the boards, and Chris King rammed it in off Barrasso. The light didn't go on, but we could tell the way Barrasso reacted that it was a goal. And then the light did go on.
The first shot went off the boards, and Barrasso looked to his left, then came back to his right. He was coming back to the post when King just threw it in off of the pad of Barrasso, and it caromed into the net behind him. Just a case of Barrasso trying to get back over to the post. He'd gone down to the one side, and he had to scramble over, and it went off his glove or off his pad and into the net.
So the Rangers have won here in overtime at 1 minute 29 of the overtime period, and now lead the series 2-1. And Ronnie Francis earlier in the first 25 seconds had a great chance against Richter. Played it off his skates and then shot it, and Richter was able to keep him off the board. The Penguins did not score in that opportunity, and the Rangers come right back and in the game. And just like that, it's over. That's the way it goes in the sudden death overtime.
And a lot of times there's a goofy goal like that that ends up in the net too. Just a crazy hop, and in it went.
So the Rangers win 6-5, and we'll be back with more in just a moment right here on the Pittsburgh Penguins Hockey Network.
Can't believe you're leaving.
It's my dad's idea.
Boston's so far away.
I know.
I guess this is goodbye.
Michael.
For those times when no ordinary picture will do, there's album classics from Giant Eagle. Bigger prints, dramatically higher quality, and framed in their very own album.
I didn't want you to forget about me.
Oh, Michael.
Hey, we're only going on vacation for a week.
Album classics from Giant Eagle.
There's a new automotive standard emerging in this country, with a reputation for quality second to none, and a desire to make it even better. Introducing the men and women of Toyota Motor Manufacturing in Georgetown, Kentucky. They just couldn't leave well enough alone.
The Rocky Mountains are picturesque, cold, and refreshing, and have positively, absolutely, totally nothing to do with beer or Pittsburgh. It's time to take action. It's time for you to write and star in your own beer commercial. Call the Pittsburgh Brewing Company at 692-1101 now.
The Pittsburgh Penguins 25th anniversary highlight video, now available for mail orders only. A colorful look at the club's first 25 years and the greatest moments of the 91-92 season. From tragedy to triumph, the dramatic story of the Penn season unfolds. Order now. Send $19.95 plus $3 shipping to Penguins Video Mail Order, the Civic Arena, Pittsburgh, PA 15219.
Well, the Iron Man of the Game is brought to you by the Pittsburgh Brewing Company, and tonight's Iron Man of the Game is Jan Erickson of the New York Rangers with a goal and 3 assists tonight to help lead the way. The Rangers forward coming up big with the absence of Mark Messier and also Darren Turcotte, and a big short-handed goal for the Rangers in the third period put them into the lead. The Penguins were to tie it, but the Rangers went on to win in overtime. So he is our Iron Man of the Game. In the shots in the overtime, the Penguins with 2 cracks at Mike Richter, including a great chance by Ronnie Francis in the first half minute of play. They outshoot the Rangers 2-1. It took the Rangers only 1 shot, and as we told you, that can happen in overtime. Just 1 shift, 1 rush, and it's over, and it was because King scored for the Rangers, and they had a total of 32. The 3 stars, the number 3 star went to Brian Leach of the New York Rangers. The number 2 star to Jan Erickson of New York, and the number 1 star in tonight's game went to Ron Francis of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Coming up on Saturday night, it'll be Game 4 of this playoff series. The Penguins will match it up against the New York Rangers once again. The Rangers now lead the series 2-1 over the Penguins, and Game 4 on tap on Saturday night on KDKA television, of course, our Penguin Radio Network. 16,164 saw this one tonight. If you'd like to join us on the radio side, we'll have a recap of the game for you coming up, and we invite you to stay on board in that regard. But 16,164 saw it here tonight. The final score again, the New York Rangers defeat the Penguins. The Rangers 6 and the Penguins 5. And now for Paul Steigerwald, this is Mike Lang saying so long, and this is the Penguins Hockey Network.
Right wing to Keogh. Keogh has a man in front. He takes the shot. He scores! The Keogh scores. The Penguins win.
The Stanley Cup has come to the city of Pittsburgh. The 1991 Stanley Cup champions, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Pittsburgh Penguin Hockey was brought to you by Giant Eagle, where there's a lot you can feel good about. By Discover Card. It pays to discover the card that pays you back. By Kendall Oil, formulated to protect your high-tech engine. Pour in the protection. By Diet Pepsi. Chill out with Pepsi and the Penguins. Great new look, same great taste. By Mellon Bank and the people at Mellon Bank. You're why we do our very best. By the Pennsylvania Lottery. Proceeds benefit older Pennsylvanians. By Pittsburgh Brewing Company. Proud to call Pittsburgh home. And by Ladbroke at the Meadows, another big league sport in town. Exit 8 off I-79. Be there and be a winner. The executive producer of Penguin Hockey is Bill Strong. This game has been produced and directed by Doug Kennedy. Remote facilities provided by Unitel Mobile Video. This has been a CAC Sports presentation. The save of the game is brought to you by America's Place to Go for Fish. Go fish at Long John Silver's. And in the overtime period, Ronnie Francis denied by Mike Richter of the New York Rangers. First shot for the Penguins in the overtime, and Richter coming up big there to stop the Penguin center ice from completing the hat trick and winning the game. The Rangers went on to win. Now the Dodge check of the game, and the check is brought to you by Dodge. For your great deals, see your nearby Dodge dealers, the Advantage leaders. And Paul Stanton rammed against the boards. And then Gardner got jammed up on a couple of checks of the game. Brought to you by your Dodge dealers. Do not forget Stan Savran, Guy Junker coming up on the Savran Hotline in just a moment.
This is a Ghost board from Long John Silver's. The hottest new, totally portable, fully accessorized, mega huge, way cool multi-beverage container with flip-top lid and high-tech robo straw. Boost. Available in 4 excellent designs and is the extreme ultimate summertime sports accessory. Just 99 cents with any Long John's meal. But beware of imitations. Some are ghost sports from Long John's. And some are not. Long John Silver! Go for the $1.99 shrimp and chicken combo. And don't forget to add a piece.
In the world of luxury automobiles, you expect aerodynamic styling. A beautifully crafted, leather-trimmed interior, the uncompromising safety of driver's and passenger side airbags, and the superior performance of a 24-valve engine. You just don't expect it to be so affordable. The Acura Luxury Lease Program. It's more than a lease. It's a legend.
Lease an Acura Legend today for only $3.99 per month at your Western Pennsylvania Acura dealer.
You know, there's real magic in Diet Pepsi. It's got that special aha ingredient.
You got the right one, baby. Diet Pepsi.
You got the right one, baby. Hey. Okay, girls. Now, what's that magic ingredient?
With 100%
The RCA projection screen is so big, you'll feel like part of the show when you watch the RCA home theater. It also has Dolby surround sound. It's so real,
Stand back, everyone.
you'll forget you're sitting at home.
Let me handle this.
The RCA home theater is just another way we're changing entertainment again.
Come see all the RCA home entertainment products at Shopping Center TV in Greensburg.
Not hearing him, are you? Nope. Your volumes might be down on your IFBs. No,
Yes.
I can't. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Hockey Hotline on KBL. It ended quickly, but not painlessly. A minute and a half into the overtime period, Chris King, of all people, ends the evening. And it doesn't end the Penguins' chances of winning this, but severely dents them with the overtime goal. As gritty a performance as you could expect from a team, I'm talking about the Penguins now, never led in the hockey game, time in and time out. They battled back twice from 2-goal deficits, coming back to tie at 5-5. And you figured perhaps at home with that kind of gritty performance, having the home ice advantage, maybe they'd pull one out. It's pretty hard to fault the effort guy and really hard to fault anything except the power play. They were 1 for 10. That's bad enough. But on those 10 power play opportunities, they only managed 12 shots on goal, and that includes 2 two-man advantages.
Yeah, and the 1 power play goal that they did score offset by the shorthanded goal that they allowed, and now 2 for 19 in the series on the power play. So that's been a problem, but you have to expect that a little bit. Mario Lemieux quarterbacks that power play, and when he's out, you had a lot of guys out there. A couple of days, Jock Callender thought he was going to spend his playoffs in Michigan somewhere, and all of a sudden he finds himself in the middle of the Stanley Cup playoffs and on the power play. And I agree with you, Stan. There's really very little you can say bad about this team. A great effort by Sean McEacher, and Ron Francis was a man possessed, had a good chance early in the overtime to win the game. Richter made the big save. Tom Barrasso didn't.
It was almost reminiscent of the Mike Crombeen goal, a goofy bounce off the board, semi-goofy. Give the Rangers credit. They got the puck to Chris King, and Barrasso was not able to get from one side of the cage to the other. And bingo, the Rangers lead 2-1 with Game 4 here Saturday night. The number to call, 333-4014. 333-4014. This is Hockey Hotline. We're broadcasting live from the Civic Arena. We'll be back to talk to you with your phone calls in just a moment.
What day is it today, Max?
Rosie? Rosie, you're just in time.
Yeah, problem is, Brady, I got a bad front rolling in.
Bad? What do you mean bad?
I mean it's soup up here, Brady.
Soup.
Brady!
Yeah, but you can land, right?
Ah, negative. Best I can do is make a pass. Drop one thing.
One.
What's it gonna be, Brady? Brady!
There are some things in life people that do just about anything for. Smooth, refreshing Stroh's. It's not just any beer.
Catch you next time, Brady.
It's Stroh's.
Any requests?
Pretzels.
Iron Mike on rust.
I hate rust.
Iron Mike on tough.
This is tough. Rust tough. This is rust. Oleum? The dictionary defines tough as strong, not easily influenced. Like me. The definition of oleum is, we sprayed this rusty metal plate with fast-drying rust tough, exposed the rusted metal, then placed it in the torture salt fog chamber. The rust didn't spread, it stayed tough. You want tough? What do you want? Oleum. Got rust? Get tough. Rust tough.
Saverin's Hockey Hotline is brought to you in part by Stroh's and Stroh's Light. It's not just any beer, it's Stroh's.
Welcome back to Hockey Hotline from the Civic Arena. The numbers to call, 333-4014 and the 800 number 1-800-932-6437. Guy, based on what you saw tonight, based on what you've seen in the first 3 games, the Penguins outplayed the Rangers tonight, clearly. Let's keep in mind that, sure, the absence of Lemieux hurt them, the absence of Joe Mullen hurts them, yet they still managed 50 shots on goal, and the Rangers are still playing without Messier and Turcotte. So with that in mind, having seen what you saw tonight, do you think they can win the series?
Yeah, I think if Messier and Turcotte come back, you see a different New York Ranger team. But based on what you saw tonight, for this group to be able to get together, not have really practiced much on the power play, to be able to throw 50 shots on goal and really play a spirited game, yeah, I think they could still win the series. I think Messier and Turcotte come back, and guys like Tocchet, Samuelson, and Lemieux can't. That's going to make a big difference, too. But they played a lot on emotion, I thought, early, but it didn't follow them because they played a disciplined game. I mean, 10 power play chances for New York. They didn't get caught in the penalty situation that they were aware of before the game. They didn't want to go out and start just slamming bodies all over the place and get in penalty trouble. New York only had 4 power plays in an overtime game.
And, of course, ironically, Adam Graves scores the first goal of the game. There was some sweet irony in that, a dagger through the Penguins' heart, not only getting the first goal, the first 2 goals, and one of them by Adam Graves, of all people, given his relationship to the Penguins in this particular series, and yet they bounce back. One other question before we go to our first phone caller. I don't want to equate this to the Boston series of last year, but you'll remember in Game 2, the Penguins outplay them. They said, we can beat this team. I'm wondering what the players in each locker room is thinking right now. Are the Penguins not as down as they might be, or are they saying we gave it our best and lost and now we're in trouble?
No, I think they would say we gave it our best and lost, and just like last year, feel that they outplayed them and should have won the game. I think the Rangers breathing a sigh of relief, but still have to be in the driver's seat. They got the home ice advantage back now, and Mark Messier is probably a step closer to coming back, obviously, than Mario Lemieux, and he'll be an added, the same as Mario is to this team. I don't think Messier is as good a player, obviously, but the same input, the same feeling that you get just having him on the ice is going to give them a lift when he does return.
Well, I felt that if they could sneak this one in somehow, that getting Tocchet back in Game 4, which we expect to happen, would give them a tremendous lift and an opportunity. And they still need Tocchet back, I think it's clear, to finish scoring plays around the net.
It's 2 games in a row now that were very winnable, that they let squeak away. And, it's a gutsy performance tonight. Like you said, you have a very difficult time finding anything wrong with it other than they could have won the game and they didn't.
Okay, one last item. One of the big advantages to the Rangers, we thought anyway, on paper, was the goaltending. Thus far, neither John Van Beesbrook nor Mike Richter have been all that good. So the fact is that they have not used that advantage as far as goaltending is concerned, and it gives the Penguins hope. The other side of that coin is, of course, they get turned around. Let's go to Andrew, who's our first caller tonight. Hi, Andrew.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
I just got a couple of quick comments. I think the Pens lost a heartbreaker tonight, and the Ranger team is a pretty good team. But I'd like to first say something about the slashing incident with Graves the other night. I think he probably should be suspended because he did break Lemieux's wrist, but I kind of think that the press and everybody is kind of blowing it out of proportion and trying to make it sound like he intentionally went to injure Lemieux. Now, I mean, it was a two-handed slash, and since he did injure him, he should get suspended, but I don't think that he went out there with the intention to purposely hurt Lemieux. I mean, Graves...
Well, let me say this to you, Andrew. I think you've obviously seen the video. If you're looking to slash someone, you're coming down in a downward motion to get his hands or stick off the puck. This was a level baseball swing winding up from left field, a roundhouse, as it were. Number two, a very interesting bit of information. Tom McMillan of the Post-Gazette was telling me tonight that somewhere in some New York or suburban New York paper, Roger Nielsen is alleged to have said and been quoted and been put in print as having said, "We've got to get Lemieux out of this series, and if we do, I'll take the heat."
It was the New York Post, I believe.
The New York Post, and the National Hockey League is looking for a copy of that paper. It can't be that hard to find, for crying out loud. And if he did, there is proof positive, especially given Roger Nielsen's past history.
There could even have been,
it was an attempt to injure.
There's even been some talk that there perhaps could have been a bounty placed on Lemieux, that the first player that knocks him out of the series might have a little extra something in his paycheck the next time around. Whether or not that's true, who knows? There's a far shot of the incident the other night, and here's the most. Now, you tell me that's not an intent to injure, Andrew.
That's never played the game. Baseball swing. It's
if you're trying to get rid of the puck or knock the puck off of Mario's stick, you hit him low. You hit him on the low hand or you hit the stick. That's it, aimed at the midsection. Any other player, that would have been chest high, but because Mario's so big, it hits him waist high. I'm sorry, I can't agree that that's not an intent to injure.
And given Roger Nielsen's history, I think it's clear that he has done this before. He did it in Vancouver. He's done it in other places. And if this quote comes through and the NHL gets a hold of it, it's going to have a distinct bearing, I should think, on the penalty that's meted out to Adam Graves. And, Guy, I think by the mere fact that Brian O'Neill is in town and has ordered the hearing, I think there's no question that Adam Graves is going to get some sort of a disciplinary action. But at this point,
it's not good enough. I'm sorry. The guy scored a goal in the game tonight. Their reasoning is we didn't want to have a hearing on the day of the game. That's what he told me this morning. Well, that's asinine. They had enough time to look at that little piece of tape an hour after the game happened the other night to get here and have a hearing either yesterday or have the hearing sometime today. He should not have played in that game tonight.
All right, let's go to Chris from Oakland. Hi, Chris. Hello.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Now, you said that Richter and Van Beesbrook, their goal scoring or their goalkeeping hasn't been all that good. How would you compare Richter to Van Beesbrook? I mean, Richter to Barrasso, I'm sorry.
Based on tonight's performance?
Yeah.
I would give Richter a plus, basically, because he faced 50 shots. Barrasso faced much less. The goal by Stevens that tied the game at 5 did bounce off a stick, and he made the big save on Ronnie Francis early in the overtime. I would give Richter an edge, but considering that the big edge in the series was supposed to have been the tandem of Van Beesbrook and Richter, plus the fact neither one of those guys played all that well in the Devils series, I think the Penguins have an opportunity here to jump on those guys. They're not being stonewalled.
I do think Richter played extremely well in his 2 games, though. I don't think that perhaps he shut down the Penguins the way they were during the regular season, but when you make 45 saves, some of them very difficult, I think Richter's played fairly well the 2 games. I really can't find. I agree with Stan. And I mean, they were averaging 1 goal a game at the Garden for a while there. Van Beesbrook was on an unbelievable tear. This is just about a minute before the Penguins lost the game tonight. Van Beesbrook did not have a good first game. Richter did give up the Larry Murphy goal. The second goal of the second game was a bit of a soften, but for the most part, I think he's played well.
Well, I don't think he's played up to the Stonewall capability is what I was referring to. And let's remember, too, and we have to look at the New York perspective, the fact that the Penguins did not mount or even attempt to mount much offense in Game 2 in New York. That's not a slam against Richter. I thought he was the better of the 2 goaltenders tonight. 333-4014, 1-800-932-6437. Daryl from McKees Rocks. Hi, Daryl.
I'd just like to say that I think the Penguins held their composure pretty good tonight. being all the bad blood going on between the two teams. And I just like to say, I think if we get talking back, the Rangers in trouble. Thanks.
I think it's a good point. I mean, you could feel the pent-up emotion in the locker room when we were there this morning after the skate. And they said this, but, you know, you still have to go out and do it, that the most important thing was winning the game, that going out and taking a lot of penalties and then losing the game does nothing, that if Joey Mullen and Mario Lemieux would want them to do anything, forget evening the score with Adam Graves or anyone else on this team, go out and win the game. And you're going to see Adam Graves somewhere down the road later on. You want to even the score, do it in a game in October next year. And they did that. And Olaf Samuelsson, boy, booming hit right off the bat against his former teammate, Randy Gillen at the blue line. I thought, here we go. And it was chippy the first 5 or 6 minutes, but for the Penguins only to be shorthanded 4 times in what, you know, in an overtime game, based on the emotion of the situation, I agree. They played very disciplined. And to a large extent, I've been watching Penguin hockey since the first year that they came into the league in '67. Somehow, I felt prouder of them tonight, watching the performance and the gutty stuff that they did, considering the ice time that Jock Callender had, that Sean McEachern, even Mike Needham. I mean, he didn't finish with anything, but you know, a kid in his first NHL game that played pretty well.
It was a gritty performance. I don't think you can fault him for that, and it just puts you on edge because both games 2 and 3, especially tonight, were very winnable, but you also have to wonder, they played the disciplined style of game, didn't take cheap penalties, but they didn't win. And how that carries into Game 4, that's what remains to be seen. Cheryl from Carrick, you're next. Hi, Cheryl.
Hi, Stan. Hi, Guy.
Hi,
I have
Cheryl.
2 questions. One, why didn't they recall Jamie Leach up? And 2, where is Jeff Chikrin?
They did recall Jamie Leach. Jamie Leach broke his jaw the same weekend that Rick Tocchet did, and Jamie Leach skated this morning with a helmet on that it looks small or large by NASA's standards. His jaw was broken a lot more severely than Rick Tocchet's, and he just can't play right now because his face is still in trouble. Jeff Chikrin just hasn't dressed for any of these games.
As you know, he's only been dressing 6 defensemen, and Jeff Chikrin has not been dressed, choosing to go with the 6, and then when Samuelsson went out, he began to dress Jim Pack. Okay?
Great.
All right. Thanks very much for calling, Cheryl. 333-4014, 1-800-932-6437. Guy and I are at the Civic Arena. In case you're joining us late, we're sorry to tell you that the Penguins lost in overtime tonight. 6-5 the final. The Rangers lead the series 2-1. Game 4 back here Saturday night at the Arena. We'll be back with more of your phone calls in just a moment.
Mr. Mayor, isn't this a lot of fuss over one parking ticket, sir?
Am I on the camera? Yeah, the mayor, I would be derelict in my duty. Who's on the bullhorn?
His girlfriend.
She is not Billy! It's Lana!
She cut in front of me.
Give me this.
Yeah, Sheriff, can I talk to you for a second? Sheriff, if Billy were to agree to traffic school, we could...
I got it, Sheriff.
Billy, who are you? Answer me, Billy. You better tell me who this woman is.
Minor T-37A.
You better tell me who this woman. What are you doing?
There are some things in life people would do just about anything for.
Billy!
Smooth, refreshing Strohs.
Here's your Strohs back, Sheriff.
Let him have it. It's not just any beer. It's Strohs.
That Michael?
Yeah.
Starts college next year.
How's mine?
When Mike told me the price of his first choice.
I know what you mean. I got this broker at Payne Weber. She put me in the 0 coupons.
To cover college. Huh. Well, when did she do that?
It's got to be 10, 11 years.
10 years ago? How did she know that's what you needed?
She asked.
Oh, well, here's the game-winning goal from tonight, minute 29 to be exact, into the overtime period. The first shot comes off the boards behind Tom Barrasso, and he's caught a little bit over in the corner. It's a little bit of a fluke bounce. Chris King, look at him. He's behind the net, puts it off Tom's pad or his glove, and it just goes in. The momentum causes him to push it in, and that's it. A minute 29 in, unfortunately, it's over. a minute after, Ron Francis had a great opportunity at the other end, but Richter stopped him.
Were you surprised that both teams came out and played wide-open hockey? I would have rather been in defensive mode and let someone else make a mistake, especially because I'm at home.
Yeah, I didn't think they were cautious at all. They were going up and down as soon as the overtime started, but that follows the character of this game. This was an unbelievably wide-open game, 82 shots on goal, so maybe not, but I thought it was going to be a lot more cautious, although those overtimes seem to go like that. Either they're over in the first couple of minutes, or they drag on, into a second overtime or whatever. By the way...
Speaking of not dragging on...
Yeah, the Pirates didn't go 16 innings tonight, but they didn't have as good a result either. They lose 4-2 to the Braves over at Three Rivers Stadium. And in the other Wales Conference playoff game tonight, Boston beat Montreal 3-2, and the Bruins, surprisingly, Ray Bourque has a broken hand. Cam Neely, of course, hasn't been himself, has been out and been hurt since Ulf hit him last year, and the Bruins up 3-0 on the Canadians now and look to be the opponent of the Penguins or the Rangers.
Pretty tough to ride a goaltender back from 3 games to none, and the Canadians don't score a great deal. Back to our phone lines. Dave from Indiana, PA. Hi, Dave.
How you doing?
Good.
First, I go to IUP, and I'm from the Philadelphia area, and I've been a long-time Flyers fan so ever since I was born. And I was definitely a fan of the Broad Street Bully days. What I was definitely surprised with was that the Penguins came out and really played disciplined. It's definitely an honor to them and their team, even though I'm not really a fan of them. The second comment I'd like to make is that Mike Lang and Paul Steigerwald really seemed really biased to me when I was watching the game. I was wondering if you guys feel the same way.
I suspect that if you listen to Gene Hart closely, you'll find the same thing.
Yeah, I'm definitely a fan of Gene Hart and Bobby Taylor.
Pardon me?
I'm definitely a fan of Gene Hart and Bobby Taylor.
You know what, Dave? It all depends on which team you're rooting for. I think, obviously, both Mike and Paul are friends. I think they do a tremendous job broadcasting the game. And they are, and not that they're employees of the Penguins, but they are broadcasting to largely a Pittsburgh audience. And I think they're fair in their assessments. And I think that oftentimes when you're a, quote, neutral observer, because they know more about the Penguins and have more information about them, more knowledge about them, it would appear that they're obviously looking from a Pittsburgh perspective, which frankly they should be.
Yeah, and Dave, I think any guy that does play-by-play regularly for any team, I don't care if we would move right now to Dubuque and do minor league baseball, by the end of the summer, I think we would have somewhat of a feeling for the team that we were doing, the games for. And that's just natural. I don't think they're overly homers, if that's the term. But I think right now, the whole organization and anybody related to it feels a little bit sensitive at the fact that they very well could be knocked out of a legitimate chance at defending a Stanley Cup championship because of what amounts to a very cheap shot.
And again, you have to always, as a broadcaster, consider your audience. By the way, we're finalists for that job in Dubuque. It's been suggested by many people at KBL we go there. Tony in Mount Washington, you're next. Hi, Tony.
Hi, Stan. Hi, Guy.
Hi, Tony.
I just think that Ron Francis played a really good game tonight, and Paul Stanton did too.
Francis really stepped up. They obviously needed someone to step in and fill the scoring void that they have now with Lemieux and Mullen out of there, and he did a terrific job.
Francis finished with, 2 goals and an assist, 3-point night? Yeah, and I believe that's 10 points over his last 4 games. Yeah. I mean, here's a guy that had really, tonight was the cream of the crop, but for 4 games now, going back to the Washington series, 5 games, he's really played well. And one of the key things that goes unnoticed, I mean, the scoring looks good, but face-offs, he's been incredible on face-offs. They back to the Washington series, they were talking in the locker room about how successful he had been on face-offs for a while. But he had a fire in his eye tonight, the way he used to dominate games whenever he played for the Hartford Whalers. I think in a way when he came here last year, he enjoyed a little more limited, not a limited role, but all the pressure wasn't on him all the time. He was the Mario Lemieux, if you will, of the Hartford Whalers. And here's one of Francis' goals tonight, right off the pipe, beautiful shot, catches him on the short side and in.
And in a way, he was told last year by Bob Johnson, you don't have to be the number 1 guy. We already have one of those. You'll be the number 2 guy. But with the number 1 guy out so much, and apparently for the rest of this Rangers series, that's Ron Francis' responsibility. You'll remember that earlier in the year when Mario was out for a time, Brian Trottier for about a 5-game stretch scored. Someone's going to have to do it. I myself am surprised that it was that wide open a game. I think the Penguins realized that it seems to me there's a difference between being in a defensive mode, which is good, versus being in a defensive shell, which is not. And they have been in a defensive shell really since the third period of game one. And I think in an effort to step up their offense, generate more offense, create more, they left themselves more vulnerable. And that takes away a guy like Gordy Roberts' game. He can't play his game if he's supposed to be rushing the puck up ice.
I think they were basically forced into that tonight. The Rangers scored 2 goals within 51 seconds within the first 4.5 minutes of the game, and suddenly it's 2-0. And at one point, the Penguins are being outshot 9-1. They got 15 of the next 18 shots on goal to battle back within 2-1. And the late goal to end the third period, when Larry Murphy gave up the puck from behind the net, that's the one that I really thought was going to do them in. And they continued to battle back. I think what you have to almost worry about a little bit if you're a Penguin fan right now is they kind of gave it their best shot. With the patchwork lineup that they had, they threw 50 shots on goal tonight, and it still wasn't enough to win a game.
Yeah, and the power play, 1 for 10, but even worse than that, only 12 shots on 10 power plays, and 2 of those were 2-man advantages. And
although I will say this, Stan, and we've talked about this, and I know you feel the same way too. Sometimes when the crowd starts screaming, shoot, 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 when they're working on the power play, and they were doing it at one point tonight when they were working on the 2-man advantage, that other team is playing a good triangle defense, or if it's a 1-man advantage, and they're playing their box perfectly. One shot that's blocked, and it's cleared down the ice, and you lose 30 seconds. Sometimes shots on goal during the power play don't always measure how successful. If you're passing well and keep the puck in the other zone, shots aren't always the way to measure how well you're doing in the power play.
But having watched it tonight, they did not move the puck around well, and there's a reason for that, is because no one passes the puck low better than Mario, and Ron Francis is, I think, the best passer around the net other than Lemieux, but they've got him on the point because they have no one else to play there. I'm not so sure it's not time to get Paul Stanton out there a little bit, although Tocchet certainly would make a difference. But, I mean, I agree with the premise, but I don't think it applies tonight because they just didn't generate enough offense from any point on the ice during the power play.
One of the reasons Paul Stanton, I believe, isn't given the chance in the power play right now in the playoffs, he seems to have lost the accuracy on his shot. He has a good, hard, low shot, but he's been having problems finding the net, and I think that's one of the reasons why they would hesitate at this particular moment in time to put him on the point.
But he can skate the puck up ice. He is mobile. Let's go to Mike from Large, PA. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Stan.
How you doing?
What's happening? I have a question and a comment about Tom Barrasso. I can't figure out on the Penguins when they have a power play and they lose the puck. The opposing team shoots it up ice. Barrasso goes behind the net and he just holds it there until one of the Penguins come back and get it. Why don't he hustle along ice to conserve power play time?
Well, part of that is an easy answer. They have, and people that haven't been watching hockey for a long time or actually never played the game don't realize that there's a lot of design plays. To get into those design plays sometime, they want a guy to go behind the net, and everybody starts in their pattern. They go up ice, they do weaves, they do things much like a basketball team trains, and that's part of the reason sometimes. You'll see other goalies do it. Now, if it's within the last 30 seconds of a penalty, Tom Barrasso will shoot the puck up ice. But sometimes that extra, and let's face it, these guys can get down the ice in 5 seconds. The extra few seconds that you save by shooting it up there, in addition to what you're losing by being disorganized as you head back in your outbreak, it isn't worth the time.
I've seen him skate out, and of course he handles the puck all the time. And remember, you can only score once during the power play, unless it's a major, of course. So, guy's absolutely right. 333-4014, 1-800-932-6437. Nick, you're next up.
Guy. How you doing, Guy?
Good. How you doing?
Pretty good. How you doing, Stan?
Fine, thanks.
I wanted to comment on what you said about Paul Stanton. He said it seems like he's lost some accuracy on his shot. It seemed from watching the game tonight that seemed like he maybe lost some on the passing too, from what I saw.
Well, I think this is one of the best games I've seen Paul Stanton play. I think he is a young kid that was hurt a little bit this year by the way he was handled, and I don't think he's quite playing the way he was last year. I can't fault a whole lot what he's doing right now. I thought in the playoffs last year, though, that he showed tons of potential. But I think some of the, not that they were purposeful head games, but I think not playing for long periods this year, being rumored in the trade mill whenever the big deal happened, has hurt his development a little bit. And maybe he'll be able to rebound from that. I don't think he's playing as good a hockey as he was a year ago, but I thought he had a good game tonight.
Yeah, I think he played well, and certainly the best game he's played in the playoffs thus far.
I wanted to ask you another thing too. Do you think there's any possibility within the playoffs that Kenny Reagan will be put in goal eventually?
I would doubt it seriously. I think they're going to ride the one horse unless, let's say, for example, in Game 4, that Barrasso has a real bad game. I don't think that Bowman would hesitate to pull him as he did in Game 4 against the Capitals. And if Reggett played well the last couple periods, let's say if that were to happen again Saturday night, he might start Reggett in Game 5 Monday night, but I don't think Bowman's thinking that right now.
Yeah. Shame of the goal that Jan Erickson scored in the third period. The short end of goals, Barrasso made a tremendous save to stop him, and apparently thought the puck was underneath him, but stayed down way too long. I mean, somehow he had to spring back to his feet, and then Erickson got the goal. But he made a great save there to start the thing.
Yeah, difficult to fault him on the game winner, too, because of the crazy bounce. He did not cover the post, but he got the crazy bounce off the boards. But, again, I don't know, you have 10 power plays, you get 50 shots. You'd like to think that you wouldn't need, 9 goals to win the hockey game. They probably should have scored enough. All right, we're broadcasting from the Civic Arena tonight. If you're joining us late, the Penguins lost to the New York Rangers 6-5 in overtime on a goal by King, and they lead the series 2-1. Game 4 Saturday night. We'll be back in just a moment.
What day is it today, Max?
Rosie? Rosie, you're just in time. Yeah, problem is, Brady, I got a bad front rolling in.
Bad? What do you mean bad?
I mean it's soup up here, Brady.
Soup.
Brady!
Yeah, but you can land, right?
Ah, negative. Best I can do is make a pass. Drop one thing.
One.
What's it gonna be, Brady? Brady!
There are some things in life people that do just about anything for. Smooth, refreshing Stroh's. It's not just any beer.
Catch you next time, Brady.
It's Stroh's.
Any requests?
Pretzels.
The Suzuki GS 500E. It hustles and still leaves cash in your pocket. You got it, you got it, you got it, we got it, we got it. If you've got to have it, there's no better time to get it. You got it, we got it, we got it, you got it, you got it, you got it. The Suzuki We've Got It. Flexible financing. Come and get it.
Savron's Hockey Hotline is brought to you in part by Stroh's and Stroh's Light. It's not just any beer, it's Stroh's.
And we're back at the Civic Arena, and we're just about out of time, but we certainly could continue this discussion tomorrow night on Sports Beat. Before we go, Stan, I mean, the referees take a lot of abuse, and Penguin fans have had a lot to complain about them this year, but I think Don Koharski deserves a lot of credit. He came into a cauldron here tonight and took control of the game early on. And there was a lot of hitting, a lot of chippiness early, but he took control of the game, and I think pretty much kept it from becoming an ugly scene out there and did a good job. Kevin Collins is a guy that I think likes breaking up fights. I was wondering if they chose him to be the linesman tonight, figuring he'd have a lot of work. I think he likes getting in there, but the whole three of them, Gerard Gauthier, they did a nice job tonight.
Koharski was well aware of the Penguin situation, knew the emotion involved in the evening, and I think it was like letting a little kid cry out a tantrum. And once they did, and a couple of early hits, he didn't call anything. He let it go, and I think he was perhaps even a bit more lenient with the Penguins based on the 10 power plays versus the 4, and he kept a very volatile situation in check. Well, the Penguins have to keep the New York Rangers in check. Game 4, Saturday night here at the Arena. Our next Penguin telecast on KBL will be Monday night. That'll be Game 5 back at the Garden in New York. So we'll see you on Hockey Hotline before then. We'll see you on Sports Beat tomorrow night at 7. For Guy Junker, this is Stan Savran saying thanks for watching, and until next time, so long, everybody.